and welcome to Music Movement this week. We've got a special treat for you because we're not actually going to be moving to a new continent this week. We're going to be looking at a new area of the continent we were in last week. Can anyone remember which continent we were in last week? It was Australasia. So the area that we're going to be looking at today is actually part of that continent. Okay, so I'm going to give you some clues as to which area we're going to be looking at. Okay, this area is made up of 900 islands. Wow, that's a lot of islands, isn't it? Hopefully you've been learning this week about what an island is. Now, if you imagine that an island surrounded by water, there's 900 of those. Okay, 900 pieces of land surrounded by water is what makes up this area. So that's our first clue. Okay, our second clue is that the capital is Honiara. Honiara. What a lovely word. Okay, so that's two clues. The capital is Honiara, and the first clue was that it's made up of 900 islands. The third clue is about the weather. You would expect to be very hot and very humid when you're there. Okay, a bit like the weather that we're going to be having this week if you're looking at this video this week. Okay, it's going to be very hot and very humid this week. Okay, so that's our clue number 3. Now clue number 4. Okay, if you were to go here on holiday or as a visitor, or if you were living there, okay, you would probably do some diving, or at least see people doing some diving, because the water around these 900 islands is incredibly famous. It's actually called the Amazon of the ocean. Now, if you know, the Amazon is a very famous rainforest, the Amazon rainforest, full of wildlife, which is exciting because if it's the Amazon of the ocean, we're going to be looking at some incredible ocean creatures today, aren't we? Okay, so that is our last clue. So we've got so far, it's 900 islands. The capital is Honiara. It's hot and humid, and it's very well known for its diving. Has anybody at home got it? Okay, we are this week in the Solomon Islands. The Solomon Islands, okay? Fantastic. Now, when I was having a look at the Solomon Islands online over the last few days, wow, it just looks so beautiful. So many untouched islands. Islands that still look like they would have looked like hundreds of years ago. Big, rugged, rocky landscapes. Okay, there are actually still things there since the World War II that have not even been moved. Okay, so you are expecting to find some quite untouched lands. Now, if you remember last week when we were learning about the Aboriginals, we were talking about their indigenous, their original languages, weren't we? Okay, so in the Solomon Islands, very interestingly, the main language is also English, okay, in the same way that it is in Australasia, okay? So in the Solomon Islands, while the main language is English, actually, not that many people can speak English who live there. They speak many different old traditional languages that are no longer spoken elsewhere. Okay, but they are still speaking them today. How wonderful. That is something to be celebrated, isn't it? Okay, that the people can be who they are still today. Okay, wonderful. So, we're going to be in the Solomon Islands. Okay, so expect to hear today some Melanese music, okay? Now the Solomon Islands is part of Melanesia, okay? So most of the music that we're going to be listening to today is from there, all right? So tune your ears in to some of the sounds, some of the languages, some of the musical instruments, all right? Now I just want to say, before we have a look what's in our magic basket, we mentioned this week is going to be very hot. Now, whenever you're doing your lesson with me, or whenever you're doing anything else this week, make sure you're drinking lots of water. Try and have a water bottle with you, okay? Or if you're at school and you're using the water fountains or whatever it might be, make sure you're trying to drink lots of water, especially as we're doing physical movement today, you're going to need it, otherwise you'll get dehydrated. Okay, so make sure you got some water. I've got my water ready here, so I can take a water break. Let's have a look in our magic basket and see what we've got in there for our rhythm tracks. Oh, there's some interesting things here today. So I've got one of my son's rattles. I've also got a natural wooden and bamboo rattle. And I've also got a homemade rattle. And that is just an old smoothie bottle with some risotto rice in it. Okay, now if you don't have a rattle at home or at school, you can make a rattle. Okay, now I have made my rattle by using some risotto rice in a bottle, but you might not have a bottle or risotto rice at home. You might have an old container in your recycling that has a lid. Try and make sure it's a lid that doesn't come off easily. So any empty milk bottle, you can give it a rinse out. Any empty Tupperware pot like this, or if mummy or daddy or whoever's at home or someone at school would like to lend you some Tupperware, okay, and then have a little look in your cupboard. There's so many things that make a wonderful rattly sound. Shall we make one really quickly? Okay, so I have in my cupboard some chickpeas and I've got some pasta, okay? Now, in my cupboard, we've always got pasta. So I'm gonna use some pasta. I'm just gonna take the band off it. And I'm going to take the lid off my Tupperware. And I'm gonna put some pasta in my Tupperware, just a few bits. If it's rice or something, you can put a bit more. You can use rice, or as I said, chickpeas, or you might have some other dried lentils or anything, okay? So I've got a pasta rattle there. It's a different sound to that one, isn't it? Okay, 2 different sound rattles, both made very quickly at home from the recycling and something in the cupboard. So if you'd like to make a little rattle, you can pause it here and you can go away and make one. If you're at school, you're probably a bit short for time. So you can always use your hands for the rhythm for this track, or use your hand on the floor as we often do. Okay, you might like to try and make a rattle over the next couple of days if you're at school. All right, so I'm going to put my magic basket of things over here. And I've got 2 rattles that I borrowed off my little one. And I've got my natural rattles as well. And I'm going to be ready for my first sound from Solomon Islands. Now, the reason that we made rattles and the reason that we're using rattles for our sound is because lots of different rattle sounds would have been in this type of music, okay? They would have used lots of natural resources. They would have used shells, put the shells together and actually put some bits of sand and all sorts of things inside and shaken them, okay? They would have used empty wood, empty coconuts, put something inside and shaken them. Something else, another sound that's very traditional, is the panpipe. We heard the panpipe when we looked at South America. It's made up of lots and lots of little wooden tubes, and you blow it a bit like a flute, okay? That's another type of sound that you will hear. So if you have one of those at home and you'd like to give it a go, fab. The other thing that they like to use in the Solomon Islands is they like to use their hands. So as I said, if you're at school and we're going to do clapping, but also they like to do lots and lots of hand movements, okay? They like to worship the sun. They like to worship the Mother Earth. So I do want to see you in this first track, using your hands and your bodies to get moving, to get warmed up, okay? Are you ready for our rhythm track? Cool. 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If you're clapping at school, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Click your fingers. If you can, use the floor. Hands. Make sure you're warming up too. Use your legs. Dance it out. Warm up a bit. Okay, well done. So, if you have some water, you might want to take a little sip now, and we're going to look at our first animal. So, as I said, in the Solomon Islands, they're surrounded by waters that's known as the Amazon of the ocean. Now, the first animal we're going to look at today is actually not an animal that lives under the ocean, so that's your first clue. This animal can fly, okay? So it's an animal that flies and obviously doesn't live in the ocean. Another clue about this animal is that it can smell fresh fruit for 3 miles away. Wow, that's a long way away. 3 miles. It can smell some yummy fresh fruit to eat for its lunch 3 miles away. Wow, okay, so that's the second clue. The third clue is it likes to roost in trees, okay, which means it likes to live in trees, it likes to hang out in trees. Now the next clue might confuse you. This animal is a mammal. Now, as we know, mammals, like us, like humans, give birth to babies, okay, and they live on land. Now, I didn't think mammals could fly, but this is the only mammal that can fly. Okay, I'm going to give you one last clue. This animal hangs upside down to rest and sleep. Okay, also hangs upside down because unlike birds, because it's not a bird, it's a mammal, unlike birds, it can't just take off for flight. Okay, it has to almost drop out of the tree in order to be able to glide and take flight, because it's not a bird, it's not naturally able to fly, okay? It finds it harder. Has anybody at home worked out, or anybody at school worked out which animal we are? Our first animal is going to be a bat, but more specifically, it's going to be a fruit bat, okay? Because in the Solomon Islands, 15 species of bats live there. Because of the rugged mountains, there's lots of caves, there's lots of dwellings, there's lots of trees for them to live in. Okay, now, I've chosen the fruit bat because there are 3 types of fruit bat in the Solomon Islands that are currently, right now, they're endangered. Which means they're threatened, which means they might not live for much longer because they're losing their homes because of people cutting down trees, okay, and the population growing. Okay, so we're going to look at the fruit bat. Now, as I said, the fruit bat can smell fruit from 3 miles away, so I want to see your sniffing noses. The fruit bat can fly, so I want to see your wings, okay? The fruit bat likes to hang upside down. So you might want to be upside down like this, if you can do that, okay, hanging onto the trees. See if you can have a go at that. If you can't do that, you could just put your legs up in the air, okay, to rest, to hide from predators and to sleep, okay? The fruit bat also glides and swoops down, okay? It swoops down to eat ripe, overripe fruit from the floor, okay? So, for our next track, I want to see you being a fruit bat. If you've got some water, maybe take a sip of water before you do it if you're hot. And when we're ready, we'll be fruit bats. See those wings? They ready? Ready to swoop? Ooh, swoop! Swoop! Ooh, swoop! Swoop! Ooh, Can you smell some fruit far away? Let's swoop and fly to that fruit. Ooh. Okay, now it's time for a bit of resting. Let's see you hanging upside down in those trees. Hanging upside down. If you can't do that, you can just put your legs up like that. Hanging, ready, because I can smell some more fruit. We're gonna jump from this position and swoop again. You ready? And swoop! 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 Well done, fruit bats. Okay, so that was our first animal. Now, we're going to have to move now into the ocean, okay, for our second and our third animals, because it's not called the Amazon of the ocean for nothing, is it? So for our first creature that lives in the ocean that we're going to look at next, okay, I'm going to give you some clues about this creature. It's very, very big. In fact, the largest of its kind was found to be 7.6 meters long. So if you imagine I am about nearly 2 meters, okay? So if you imagine that this animal is more than 4 times the length of me. That's a big creature, isn't it? Okay? It's very flat though. It's very flat, very wide, okay? This creature is quite clever, really. It is the top almost of its food chain, okay? The only things that might want to eat it are larger sharks and things like that. So other than that, it doesn't really need to be scared, okay? Now, this creature also likes to sometimes come out of the water. It doesn't need to come out for air like some other creatures. It likes to come out to splash every now in the water. We don't know why it does that, okay? We think it might be to find a new mate or something like that. Or maybe even just having some fun or getting some of the insects or some of the sea sort of insects off its skin by coming out of the water. Okay, so you might see it flipping around. One more clue about this is it's very dark in colours. And it has wing-like movements. Okay, so a bit like the bat we had, its body and its movement moves as though it's flying through the sea. Okay, what could this possibly be? Well, we're going to be a manta ray. Now, a manta ray is the largest of the ray family. They're very, very big and round, and they often have long tails. Okay, but when you look at them from the side, they're very flat. Okay, they can be quite dangerous, all right? But they're incredibly amazing to watch and move around. They glide and fly through the sea, through the ocean. So, if you have something at home, like a dark towel, okay, that you can use as your wings, okay, to get an idea of how the manta ray, see how it sort of flips like that as you glide through the sea. If you have anything like that, if you're at school, you can always use like a hoodie, or if you have a coat, okay, and you can just pop your hood on and you can grab hold of these bits and use those bits as well, okay? I'm going to use my towel because I have one here, okay, and it will just show you the effect of how those fins, how those parts of it actually move. All right, we ready for our second track? Brilliant. Okay, well done, Manta Ray. Fantastic. So we've done 2 of our animals so far, which leaves us just to 1. Now, I have saved my favourite until last, okay, because this is quite an incredible creature. It's part of a larger family of creatures, okay? So you'll have probably heard of the shark family, okay? So that is a big clue. It is a type of shark that we're looking at today. But this is a special type of shark because this shark actually spends most of its time at the very, very bottom of the ocean. So we started on the land today, we started mostly in the air. We moved into the ocean, an animal that sometimes dips to the surface of the ocean. And now we're going deep, 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 deep down to the very bottom of the ocean, okay? He sits on the floor. So he can actually lie still on the ocean floor, which is quite amazing. Okay, because the water would move him around and make him drift up. But what he is able to do is he's able to actually take the water that comes through his gills and push it out, which means he can stay in one position. Now, he does that to rest, but he also does it to make himself unseen so he can give his prey a surprise. Okay, so he stays at the bottom of the ocean. Now, another interesting thing about him is that he likes to eat octopus, okay? So octopus are quite big. So you would think this shark must be quite big, but actually he's quite a small shark, okay? He's only 7 foot long, so a little bit longer than me, okay? Maybe another head and a half of me. Not long for some of the sharks in the shark family, okay? He's quite small. Now, one last thing about him, okay, is that he likes to hide out in caves, okay? And he likes to push his prey, drive his prey into the caves where they're stuck, where they can't get out, okay? And that's where he'll eat them, okay? So he has, like most sharks, a fin. So I want to see your fins, okay, as we're being sharked. And staying sometimes lying flat on the bottom of the ocean still, okay? I want to see your fins and I want to see you pumping that water, okay, through to make sure that you're staying in one position. Then, when you think you might have seen some prey, I would like to see you swimming really fast through the water, chasing your prey into a cave, okay, where you're able to get it, okay? So this animal, this type of shark is actually called the white-tipped reef shark, and it's only really found here, which is why it's special to the Solomon Islands, okay? Amongst all of those beautiful corals and the tropical marine life that you would find in the Solomon Islands, you would also find the white-tipped reef shark, which is an incredible creature. Okay, so our last track, we're going to be sharks. So let's get yourselves lying flat on the ground, ready for the music. See your spikes? Getting ready for. Okay, sharks. Are you ready? Get that water pumping through your gills. Let's see you, sharks. Gonna get ready. Swim after your prey. Swim as quickly as you can. Swim as quickly as you can. Okay, you're on the chase. Now I want you to chase that prey into the cave. Chase. Chase. I've backed mine into the cave and I'm going to gobble him all up. Gobble. Swim. Well done, sharks. Okay, so we have learnt about 3 beautiful animals found in the Solomon Islands today. I hope you're enjoying learning about the Solomon Islands at school. It's quite incredible. I didn't know much about it, and I was really excited to learn about it when I heard that was our topic. So we've had the fruit bat. We have had the Manta Ray, the giant ray, and we have also had the white-tipped reef shark. You've also learned a little bit about the instruments and the sounds that you would find in the Solomon Islands, and I hope you've enjoyed our music today. I particularly enjoyed it. Okay, so for our last track, I want you to find somewhere comfortable. If you're at school, you can just sit and close your eyes. If you have space, you can lie down and close your eyes. If you're at home and you have a sofa like me, you can lie on the sofa, anywhere where you feel calm and you can relax and not think about anyone in the room, and focus and think about being deep at the bottom of that ocean. Imagine you are on a dive in the Solomon Islands and you are looking at the hundreds of colourful corals. Okay, in those crystal waters, you're looking at the tropical marine life as you're diving through the caves. Okay, and listen to our last track, some more music from the islands. Okay, and I'll see you next week. I'm excited to find out where we're going.